everybody, and welcome back to Louisiana Homestead. How are y'all doing out there today? I hope y'all are doing just fine. Today I'm going to be putting some elderberry wine together, and I just thought I'd bring y'all along for the ride and show y'all how I do it. Okay, we're going to start out with 2.5 gallons of purified water. I'm using some rain barrel water, so I boiled mine to sanitize it. And now I'm going to add in 10 pounds of sugar into it so it'll get dissolved easily. I usually just buy a 10-pound bag of sugar to make it easy for the measuring or the weighing part of the sugar. I'm just going to mix that in to help it dissolve. Now I'm going to let that mixture cool completely down to room temperature, and then I'll meet you back. I'm going to be using a 5 gallon crock, ceramic crock like this. Make sure it's very clean. I got my first gallon of water down in the bottom of it. This is my second gallon of water. I've got my sugar dissolved in it, and I'm about to add it to the crock next. The ingredients are very straightforward. It's 2.5 gallons of distilled water or spring water, preferably a water that doesn't have chlorine in it. I'm using my rain barrel water, and I just boiled it to sanitize it because sanitation is key for this process. The next thing I have is 10 pounds of sugar, which I dissolved in that warm water. Also, I'm going to be adding 7 pounds of elderberries, which I collected on another video. My daughter-in-law got the berries for me. I removed them from the stems on another video, and I have them here. I'm about to add them in to this recipe. This is my last half gallon of water here, and these are the elderberries that I have measured out, and I'm about to add them into this pot here. I guess white isn't the appropriate color to wear for this, but this is an old shirt, so I'm not too worried about it. I just want to get these berries down into this water, and what I intend to do is break some of them. I've got me a new pair of gloves here, and I'm just going to reach right down into this pot and squeeze these berries to get the juice out to come out of them. I want to get as much juice out of these as I can before I add them into my crock. And the best way to do that is in this half a gallon of water. It's going to make it a lot easier to go through. Back in the day when I didn't have a ceramic crock, what I did was I had purchased a 7-gallon plastic trash can, brand new, and that is what I would use to make my elderberry wine in every year, and it worked just fine. I just ended up having to come across a good deal on one of these ceramic crocks at an antique store, and so I bought it, and I've been using it ever since. But actually the clean, never used before trash can worked very good. And it may have even been easier to work with because it wasn't so heavy. Okay, so I've got this warmed up a little bit, and I can handle it a little easier now. It's not freezing cold, and I just want to mash those berries up pretty good. I'll spend a little time here mashing them, probably 5 minutes, giving them a good thorough mashing through and through. Try to get most of them mashed that's in there. I know I won't get every one of them, but I'll do my best. The other thing that this is going to do is get my ingredients up to room temperature. I don't want them freezing cold, for when I put the yeast in there. I want my yeast to be able to activate good in the and not be in no cold temperatures. You know, yeast don't do good in cold temperatures. But I'm going to activate my yeast in a little bit, and I'm going to show that to you. Okay, now that I feel like I got my berries mashed up pretty good, I'm going to go on ahead and add this mixture into my crock pot as well. So that's going to have all of my water in my crock pot, all of my sugar, and all of my berries. So let me go and add this to my crock pot now. Okay, now that I've got that added in, next is the yeast. This is the kind of yeast that I use each year. It's the Lalvin Bourgovin RC 212. Maybe saying that wrong, but this is what it looks like. It comes in a little 5-gram pouch, and I'll use 3 of these for this recipe that I'm making. So I need to activate this now. I usually order my yeast ahead of time and keep it in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. You definitely don't want to use expired yeast, because this is just way too much work to make some wine and then just to use some old expired yeast and chance it not turning out right. So make sure you have some good yeast that's not expired to do this project. Okay, so you want to put your yeast down into some really warm water, not boiling hot, just warm. You don't want to kill the yeast, you just want to activate it, so it needs to be nice and warm. Follow the directions that's on the pack. It tells you how warm to get your water. I just dissolve it like this. And I'm gonna let it sit here for a few minutes. So let me just allow that to sit. Okay, you see something is happening here. The yeast is beginning to activate. So we know we've got some good yeast here. It's been about 3 minutes. I'm going to give it a little bit longer to sit here to activate. Okay, y'all, bear with me. I know it's dark in here, but I've chosen a warm room in the house to do this project because I want my mixture to stay nice and warm, room temperature anyhow. And it is August. I'm just going to rinse my cup out in here as well and get all that yeast out of there. Okay, that's good. I'm going to give it a very light stir. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to cover this crock up. Because I don't want anything to fall in it. I don't want any dust to get into it. I'm just using a plastic bag and I'm coming back around it with this little elastic belt. So you can see the bag is on there. There's enough space for any pressure to release if it needs to. So there's enough area for any gases to release from underneath that bag if it needs to. And I'll be checking it in 1 week. So I'm not going to be going in there and fooling with it or messing with it at all. In 1 week, we'll go back. I'll take you back with me and we'll check it and we'll stir it. We'll give it a real good stirring. Okay, we're going to say wine on this day. We're going to stir this day and we'll pick it up on this day. Okay, got the calendar mark. So no, this is not a conventional method of making wine. This is not me telling you how to make wine. This is me showing you how I make wine. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, y'all, it's time to stir the wine. Time to stir the wine. It's been 1 week. This is what it looks like. I'm just gonna mash those berries down in there. They floating to the top. Gonna give it a real good stir. And it looks like it's supposed to. It looks like it always looked every time I ever made it. So I'm confident that things are going well. And that's it. I'm going to cover it back up, and in another week we'll check it again. So there it is, covered back up till next week. Today is day 14, so I got all of my wine bottles out that I want to use, and I've used these before. And I've got them all cleaned, and I got them draining and drying to be ready for the wine. Okay, so we're ready to open this back up. It's the 14th day. Kind of hard with one hand, but I'm getting it. Pull this off of there. I got some better light in here for us today, so we can see what this looks like. As you can see, we've successfully kept the bugs out of it. No gnats, nothing like that. And we're just going to remove these berries from this. Now I'm not going to stir this. I'm going to try to gently remove this without disturbing the bottom as much as possible. I know it's still going to be disturbed. But like I said, I'm going to try to gently remove it without disturbing it as much as possible. Because whenever I do go back into this in a couple of days, I want it to be settled so I can get the clearest wine possible out of it. So I'm just going to go through this and remove as much of these berries as I possibly can until I don't see any more of them. You see I'm already getting some clear area here. You see I left some of the stems in there. I do that every year. It doesn't hurt anything. It'll be all right. So whatever comes through that strainer, the liquid, I'll just add right back into my pot so I don't lose any of it. I'm just looking to remove the solids out of it at this point. And we're getting there already. It doesn't take long. It is a little messy. So be prepared to clean up any little splatters when you get done. As you see, I've dropped a couple of berries here. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Now I'm just going to, let's see what we've got here. You see some of that wine's come through. I'm just going to add that back in to here. So let me go on ahead and get that going. Okay, I've got most of my berries out of there. A couple of them's going to continue to come up there in the next day or so, and I'll get them off of there as they do come up. Okay, I've got it covered back up so no dirt or bugs will get into it. Okay, I got all my bottles completely clean and dry and ready to go for the next step. Okay, this has been sitting for 2 days now, and I want to get any little berries that floated to the top off of there. So I'm just going to take this little strainer and skim them off. Anything that's on there, I'm going to skim it right off. So I'm going to do that now. The next thing I have here is a siphoning hose. It's about 5 foot long, and I've got a wooden skewer attached to it with some freezer tape. And as you can see, I left the skewer about 1 inch longer than the hose is. The reason why is I'm going to put this on the bottom of this crock, and I don't want it to pick up anything that's at the bottom of the crock. So I'm going to position this onto here, and I'm going to fasten it to the side of this crock. Once I feel that stick has hit the bottom, I'm going to fasten this with a little C-clamp. Now I have it fastened there, and it won't be able to move. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this crock up from this side so that most of my liquid will be on this side of the container. Just like this, where you see I have that book wedged under there. Siphon hose is on this side. That way when I start getting to the bottom, I can get most of my liquid out on this side. Okay, the next thing we have here is a funnel with a brand new stocking on it. Never been used, so it's clean. I've got that lining this funnel. And not only am I going to use that as the strainer, I'm also going to use this on top of this strainer to catch any of the big pieces first, so that my little stocking doesn't get clogged up right away. So we're going to start the siphoning, and this is going to be the filtration. So let's get to the next step. Now when you're siphoning, you'll want your crock to be higher than the bottle that you're siphoning into. That's just the way siphoning works. If you don't have it that way, it will not work. You also want to have you a little container just in case you need it. Now to get the process started of the siphoning, you will have to take the hose and use it as a straw to begin it to start coming out of there. So you're gonna be drinking a little taste of this wine when it first starts coming out. If you don't want to swallow it, use your little bowl there to get rid of it, but I don't mind. So let's get it going. Okay, we got it going, and I put my thumb on it immediately to keep that suction going, the siphon suction. Okay, so now I can let my thumb go, being it's lower than the tank, and my bottle's going to begin to fill. The little filter is going to catch anything that it picks up. The bigger stuff will be caught in this filter, and the smaller stuff will be caught in the stocking. It fills up pretty quick depending on the size of your hose that you're using. Okay, stop that. And you want to be careful of when you stop it, because look, I already have a spill. Alright, I'm going to get my next bottle into the pitcher. Remove my funnel into it. Push this bottle back. And I'm going to have to clean up my little mess here. And I'm keeping my thumb on this siphon hose the whole time I'm doing this bottling. If I don't, and as long as I keep it below the tank, I'll be okay. But if I lift this hose above the tank, I'm going to lose my suction. So I need to pay close attention to what I'm doing with that. You don't want to be doing 3 different things at one time when you're going through this process. As you can see, this one's filling up too. It's catching any little berries here that might have been left behind. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have all of them done. When I get ready for it to say it's filled up, I'll put my thumb over that hose, and that's what's going to stop it, the bottle from filling up. I'm going to have me another bottle lined up and move it, my funnel, onto it. Move this bottle back and this bottle where I can work with it. And I'm just going to keep going like that. I'm going to clean this up when I set this camera down. So I'm going to fill all my bottles up because it's hard to do with one hand on the siphon hose and the other hand on the camera here.
You made the perfect one.
So I'm just going to pause this and then I'll get back to y'all when I have my bottles filled up.
That's a bad son of a gun right there.
It's good, huh?
That one's perfect.
Okay, I've filled up 6 of these bottles so far, and you can see how much stuff it's caught on the top of this just from those 6 bottles. And you can see the smaller debris that the stockings caught. After a while, you will need to move that stocking around a little bit to get some fresh area on it to continue filtering this. And you just want to keep siphoning until your hose stops, and mine has stopped. And as you can see, I'm to the bottom of my crock pot here. So that means I'm done. I have a bag of corks here that I've been saving throughout time, and I'm just going to use those to stop these bottles up. I'll just go through all of my bottles and cork them like that. And I'll just continue to cork these with these corks that I have saved. And that's all the effort I'm going to put into corking these. I've done this for years and it's always worked for me. So I'm going to get all these corked. I'm going to be checking on these bottles in the next few days to make sure they don't come uncorked, because sometimes that happens and I have to come back and recork them, but usually it's not a problem. Okay, I'm just going to label these with to say elderberry wine and the year that they was made, and I'm just going to use some freezer tape to label them with. Okay, I don't want to save what's in the bottom, the very last inch of this crock pot, because it's just the dregs and I'm just going to discard it. See that? Especially once you stir it up, it's very cloudy and you don't want that. You're just going to discard that.
I can't open it.
Okay, Mr. E's got...
Oh.
You got it?
Yep.
Mr. E's opening up one of my bottles of wine that I just made, and he's going to taste it for y'all and let y'all know what he thinks about it. It made about 12 liters, that batch that I made, and I don't sell it. It's for our own use, and I'm going to be storing it in a dark location like a closet. It's not very cured right now because we just made it, but we're going to go on ahead and taste it anyhow.
I don't know why I poured so much. I wasn't thinking.
That's good.
I'm not real big on wine, but it is good for you a little bit here and there, and it's good for trade value too, bartering. But this is good for your health and all because it's elderberry. I'm not going to drink all this. I don't know why I poured that much, but it's just elderberry wine. And I've always said I didn't like a wine that was too sweet or too dry. And this one is it. It's the same recipe you've been using. It's about perfect.
This is our traditional family recipe.
Yeah. Now y'all probably can't see that. it's not like I don't want to call it cloudy. It's not cloudy, but it's not as clear as it's gonna be yet because it's still green. Am I making sense?
Right.
It once it ages or whatever, it gets real clear and looks good. It's a good looking wine. But this, yeah, it's delicious, baby. It's good.
And it's not too sweet.
Not too sweet, not too dry. It's perfect for me.
All right, I'm cooking, y'all. Sorry about all the bells. All right, so this concludes our winemaking video. I just wanted y'all to see us taste it, and
it's good.
We like it. It's a hit.
You gave them the recipe?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all, thanks for watching. Y'all, be careful out there. Keep praying.
Yeah, we hope y'all like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.